Welcome everyone to another episode Conversations That Matter. Today with me, for you, is Diana Fayad, founder and CEO of HRPRO, located in Lebanon, but with a huge global reach, consulting within human resources and leadership practices. And today we will be talking about HR and actually what is happening with HR in 21st century. Diana, thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you, Magdalena, for this introduction. It's a pleasure to be part of this discussion, which will be very interesting as always.
Yes, we have connected with Diana not so long time ago.
Exactly.
But I think this is kind of also testimonial for the purposeful connection. You don't need too much time to connect for the purpose, to create the purpose. And enjoy this kind of challenging sometimes conversations.
Exactly. And this is part where you can start elaborating and discuss few things and learn from one another at the same time.
That's one of the beauties of the conversations, constructive conversations, not one way, monologue, let's say, which is quite often happening in organizations when HR is speaking. We say HR is the heart of the organization. However, from the practice, HR is just communicating the decisions and then disappearing behind the walls.
True. Unfortunately, this is true. Unfortunately, this is where you can start to see those HR that they are living in their own comfort zone, where they don't speak up, they only execute what is needed from the management. And this is very bad. This is something very bad, where you can start testing the ground that HR is only for the sake of having an HR in the company, yet he doesn't have any authority. He doesn't execute anything related to people, which is an important part in any company. On top of this, you start to see people being demotivated in front of you, and you are watching, you're not doing anything. And this is bad as well. So things are becoming cumulative, and things will grow in a way or another to reach a negative and very bad ending, unfortunately.
What I have observed in various organizations, there is a huge and really strongly settled human resource departments, but they are invisible. People outside HR not necessarily know the people who are working in HR. It seems that there is only one level of communication, which is HR director and other directors, but not in a collective manner. So the regular employee who doesn't have necessarily decision-making rights within the organization has access to the people, and vice versa. The employee, regular employee from human resources, is also not visible in building the relationship with people.
This is bad also.
Yes, from the perspective of your working with the organization, that's my observation I'm sharing. What is yours?
From my perspective, it all depends on the character of the director. If the director is engaging his team in everything, you will not reach this level. If the director is someone who would like to be a frontliner all the time, you will see this way of communication. It's a one side of communication. People are not engaged one another. And this is called like authority. They are taking everything into granted. They have their own authority, but not everyone is recognized, neither if they are doing a great job or not. He wants the authority for him. He wants to show up himself, and he leaves the team aside. Where a successful HR director does not act like this. He engage his team at all times. He brainstorm even with his team. He engage his team to be more spreaded on the ground, to communicate with people, to feel that we are one team eventually. HR eventually is not a policeman. We are not in office where you feel this is only comfort way to speak negatively. No, we have both sides. We can speak negatively, we have positive sides. We bond, we need to create the bonding in between, and we need to find solutions at the same time. So if it was one-way communication, they will not succeed, neither the team, neither the director itself, because he's reflecting the only image that he would like to project. Eventually, when someone is working, it's not related to one person, it's a team.
Why do you think it is happening that we are still somehow, even how you are saying, and from various reports, we know that HR is not doing well.
True.
Why?
He is
It
not doing
sounds like
well.
we get stuck in traditional function of human
Mm.
resources, that is creating the files, contracts of employment, contracts for remuneration, producing the set of policies, and nothing more than that. Why do you think this style of their work is still alive?
Because people, they are not equipped for this transition. If
Mm.
you are not ready, or even you don't have it's not only related to have the needed competencies or skills or technicality to succeed in this. You need to have the belonging for this. If you don't feel this, you will not even succeed, because the passion that you have inside you that will
Mm.
take you to the other side to execute this transformational part and succeed. If you do not want this, you will remain behind your office. You will do the old traditional way of HR, where we execute only interview, you fill a document, and that's it.
Mm.
You don't elaborate further. You don't brainstorm things, or you don't transmit things from something written normally to executing an action plan toward growing something else. Let's say, if I will give you like a small example. Whenever you have a person that is leaving the company and you start filling the exit interview, what is the purpose of the exit interview? Is it just because I would like to pinpoint on the manager itself, the team, specific department, or what? It's not this. The right HR will wait, let's say, will choose a quarterly based action plan
Mm.
to avoid having a pinpointing sections on specific people where you gather all the informations on a quarterly basis, so nobody will be able to understand whom said this about whom, because this is not the concept of gathering and collecting the info. To avoid creating more roadblocks and more tension on the ground, you collect all this data, you start creating an action plan alongside with the manager to engage them, and you talk in general. You say, guys, we have 1 to 3, we should take action. What do you think is much better
Mm.
to be done to solve these problems? How can we help? How can we elaborate further together? So this is the part where if you do not have this passion, you will fill the document and that's it. However, if you have the passion, you will dig deeply, you go further, you will take it to an extreme extent, and you will execute differently.
It's a passion or knowledge?
Knowledge, everybody can learn, no? We can
Mm.
learn technicality, you can earn it by learning. But behavioral part, you cannot
Mm.
teach people the behavioral part. Either you have it and you live it, where you spread your own values with your behavior, either you don't. I'm coming in here just to earn my salary and then I will go. I don't care what is happening. Yet, if I have the passion for my work, which will be representing you and your own values, you will spread it around. HR can lift you from down till up, or vice versa. He will drain you downstairs.
That's
So
so
if you
true.
don't have this passion, you will not be able to succeed to do your job properly.
Because even the knowledge, what is the knowledge when we are talking about human resources or leadership? I believe there is no end. It's like continuous learning. But yet, some basics you need to have, right, to understand the concept. And depending on what kind of function within human resource you are playing, the knowledge is crucial at some point. But in terms of utilization of this knowledge, I agree with you. Passion will play a really crucial role over here because it is transforming into the spirit, the building the synergy, delivering the vision, charismatic presence among other people, collaborating, communicating with others outside even human resource, right? Yet
Agreed.
recently with the students, when I was running the course on human resource management, I asked, have you ever heard about human resource? What does it mean? Some of them are having some little already experience at work, and we don't know too much, but what we heard is the most hated department in organizations.
Unfortunately, this is sad to hear, by the way. It's not something uh, we hear it all the time, but you need to do something about this. You need to, let's say, if you cannot do anything, you need to start creating awarenesses across your environment, at least, to start shifting this mindset where HR, for real, he can do something. It's not only having an HR department. HR is a support system for your own culture.
You mentioned earlier that people are not ready.
Yeah.
In terms of evolving the function of human resource, we can, I think, boldly speak about the leadership management engagement
Yeah.
because their decisions somehow will have an impact how HR is operating and what is delivering. Do you think the C-suite is not ready to
They are
lead
not.
HR?
Okay. The main problem, or let's say most challenging part, you can see it, and even you can see it in different results. One of the report related to Deloitte publishing a report one time from almost 6 months back. I have read it. They have highlighted a very important point where they mentioned that C-suite and HR, let's say, they are not finding a common ground to agree on way to do things. Why? Because HR is perceiving things from a certain perspective. The management is perceiving things totally different. They want HR to support and execute. They expect a lot from HR, yet they don't care how HR will be executing. He just want a result. But how he will reach the HR, the result, he doesn't care eventually. He cares about his profit, the results, KPI, achieving, and so on, because they have specific targets. Yet, smart CEOs will engage the C-suite people in the company to let them bond together and understand the contribution of each one of them to be able to succeed. The CEO be always blunt and he will only care about his KPIs and targets. He will not succeed. Maybe he will succeed the first year. What about the next year? Are we thinking on a yearly basis or on a
Progressively.
long-term journey?
Yes.
Exactly. You need to see things behind this. You cannot only figure out things to solve your current situation. You have to take preventive actions and you need to speak up. Several times we know that HR are providing a lot of preventive actions for long term. And after a certain period of time, they will reopen the same topic. They will say, we wish we heard when you spoke about this before. But right now, what can we do? That if we agree that we wished that we have heard about this before, what about now? You just want me to solve the current situation, or do you really want to hear me from now onwards and set an action plan together to succeed? And here, the crucial role will play its part if the CEO will collaborate or no. He will engage the C-suite or no.
The exit interview. My opinion is also, what's the purpose of it? What do you want to achieve? No one will say negative things. No one will say their reality. But somehow we still deny it and we push to have those interviews. But from the psychological perspective, of course, I will not tell you because we are taught do not burn the bridges. If I will say that something was going wrong or I felt unappreciated, they will cross us and, delete our files for any future opportunity to come back to organization. But even if we do have these kind of exit interviews, we do have performance evaluations. There is also a trend, the C-suite love to enjoy to see the positive outcome. And they never question, there is no negative? Are
True.
we so great? So why there is such a low retention?
How can you measure all these when you have a denial C-suite team? How can you measure all of these? HR, he should be, in a way or another, equipped to be ready to speak up when the time is right if he doesn't have the privilege to speak up, let's say. But he has opportunities to prepare themselves for the right time. If I have these KPIs and I truly care for my department and the company itself, because it's not always about your department, it's about the whole company, you will even keep on doing these exit interviews because for us, the exit interview is not only filling documents. If you are smart enough to let the person trust you to an extent where you will provide honest and transparent discussion to say for this person, I will guarantee for you, if someday you would like to return back to the company, your place is reserved. However, doing this exit interview is only a confidential part to help me to fix things on the ground. And nobody will be knowing what did you say because it will remain between us. Yet, because we love the company, we are tackling these things to try to figure out solutions. So this is one KPI, let's say. You have different KPIs to work on. But together, all of this, it will eventually lead you to the performance management. If we have right KPIs and management, they are achieving their targets, but the team is not. How come? How come he is achieving, but the team is not achieving? There is something clicking in a way or another, no?
Definitely, but we don't think about this, huh? We
But
we
we have
don't ask in challenging questions at the board table. And for me, as you are saying, the HR is a person who, by nature, by its principle, should lead the change. And the human factor should be one of the priorities. But somehow, once they join the organization, they are getting into that strategic trap and they see nothing but KPIs, which is numbers. Somehow the human touch is evaporating. Employee is no longer a person, where it's a human resources principles to empower the human capital management. And if it's weak, to reach out the managers, listen, let's work out. But also, like you mentioned before, HR managers are usually not in alignment with other leaders.
True.
Why it is happening? Is this like a ego thing?
It plays both sides, let's say. I will tackle it from both perspective. Let's say it's the ego part, which everyone has, but nobody, you can have an ego and be humble at the same time. These are two different things. However, having the ego without even doing anything toward your success or your team success or company success, this is the part where you should fear of, because it will drag you and it will lead to a negative ending eventually. Why? If I am setting my own KPIs and nobody is following up on me other than the CEO because he wants to achieve these KPIs, however, achieving these KPIs, you can uh, achieve it, but whom will tell you eventually that these are the right KPIs to set at the beginning of the year, let's say? How do we ensure that the company is, uh, or let's say the company has healthy cascaded KPIs between each person to another or between a department to another? HR plays a crucial role in this part because he should calibrate all of this. He is the person who can say no to closing a calibration session or to setting an end for KPIs during the beginning of the year. He is the person who can stop all of this and say, guys, these are the KPIs coming from the board. However, we have the role to lead on this. If I have a performance management person working in my department for this, what he will be working during the whole year if he's not following up on all of this exercise from the beginning and from scratch?
Yes.
He needs to lead this, and he needs to support the manager to understand the concept. How can we cascade the KPIs from leading KPIs to lagging KPIs? You need to help them. Nobody knows all of this. We understand this. This is complicated exercise, we know. But it's our role to facilitate it. It's our role to help them. You can conduct workshop to let managers be engaged in this exercise and understand their own contribution. And a successful workshop on this, you will even engage people from your ground. So whenever you are working, you can invite several people, take their feedback on this, and we can hear them. If you hear the ground, you will be able to solve your problem much more, because whenever you are behind the scenes and you're only focusing on a specific target, some things you will miss indirectly, not having a bad intention toward this. It happens because you're not on the ground. However, the person on the ground, he knows his daily problems. He needs to speak up. He needs to inform the person above him. This is what is happening with me. How do you think can we help you in this? What kind of action can we do to support you solving these problems, for example? So if you don't have this challenging part, engagement part, for sure, one person will be achieving what he really wants to achieve. The others, they are not engaged. Eventually, you have successful KPIs, but you don't have successful results. And it will be shown. It will be shown eventually year end. Whenever you are generating the whole result of the company, it will show up. It's not related to one KPI. We are all engaged in this.
Personally, I'm not a fan of KPI.
I
It
know.
was a big, big boom when this is also very interesting. You know, the strategy management, it's existing already since so many years, decades. But the concept of strategy, corporate strategy, appeared like maybe 15 years ago, that every organization started to hiring the consultants to write for them the corporate strategy and create the vision, create the mission and the values. And quite often it seems that it has been created completely in a disconnected manner with the ground people, only at the top, without understanding how the world on the ground really looks like and what is important for the people from the ground. One of the things that have hit me quite a lot, all is created for the external environment, our customers.
True.
And all work, all activities are really polished how we serve our customer. But I don't know what has to happen to understand the first customer of yours is your employee. Without your employee, you don't exist. You can be bold to say, I will find another one. With this attitude, you will spend more money on your recruitment
True.
rather
True.
than finding people who will be loyal in your good times and bad times. Because every organizations are having ups and downs. But this fixation around the strategy, mission, vision, which is somehow taken out of nowhere, and no one can repeat that even. So how can you create the passion, by the way, or loyalty
Exactly.
among the employees? And then bombardments with the KPIs. And I don't like it because it is shifting it shifted so strongly this attention from people to numbers.
True.
And it's visible in the long term, it's really visible. People, we only use people when we put the big label. Employees are our most important asset.
Are
This
the
is the
ground.
only thing where we are putting attention on our employees, but we don't walk around. What is the last year's skill that your leader has taught you? What kind of objectives? Do you like your objectives? And just because I want to ask you more about the KPI. I saw the practice, which I was astonished. They put the KPI on individual level, which is against the understanding, the theoretical understanding of KPI. And in some cases, I saw the practice of twisting job description, copy paste, and creating KPI on an individual level. When I saw that, I said, but first of all, individual level is objective,
No.
and job description is not a KPI.
True.
What is a KPI? Can you explain to all of us, or
Yeah.
those who are lost in the forest of the strategic management, what is KPI?
KPIs has nothing to do with your daily job. Let's be clear from the beginning about this. If any company is, let's say, spreading the concept of having a KPI related to your daily job, it means this is the old traditional way of doing things. We only want to fill KPIs, target, etc. Companies works on KPIs, or let's say objectives, or let's say goals even. I don't want to say specific terminology because everyone uses it differently. Goals of the whole company will come from top till down. People will set specific targets based on what? On the vision they have to move onward for the coming years. How to do this? They start executing things differently. How come? I am stretching out the KPI of people to let them be engaged in our target, to let them be engaged or to be part of the success of this company and to grow within this company. That's what is called KPI, or let's say objective or goal. When I set a specific KPI related to my daily job, what does it mean? This is the routine that you are doing on a daily basis, etc. What's the purpose behind it? How you're gonna grow in this company? How the company will grow? This is not something where you start to feel that you are stretching your KPIs. You are even stretching the job of each person inside this company to feel that he is a contributor toward the company success. This is something crucial because they don't understand this fact. They will tell you, oh, the company is doing great. We have great sales. We are selling. We see the numbers, etc. Fine. We know all of this. But what's behind all of this? If you are only focusing on having an incentive or a sales target to achieve, that means nothing. Because achieving your target, it's already your own job. You should have or let's say you're doing on a daily basis. It's part of your job. However, focusing on something for a long term as a salesperson is different than doing your monthly target. And that's the comparison that they have to understand because they don't understand the fact. They consider this is my main focus. I'm achieving my target. These are my target. But no, my dear, you were recruited to have sales and to achieve your target. But this is not the company goal. Whenever we are saying a company goals, I will link it to the salesperson specifically. He will start achieving better monthly KPI targets, let's say, if he focused on the company goals, because he will see things differently. Whenever he's in the market, he's selling or he's promoting something, he will not focus only on the number that he has in front of him. He will start elaborating further. He will think beyond the box because the management engage him in the company targets. He will come back to his manager, them, look, I had a meeting today. I guess I feel we can do one this three to grow with this customer, for example. That's the difference by having people engage in achieving this and let them understand that their own job description is not the performance management KPIs, objectives, goals they have.
And especially like sometimes when I work with people and either middle management or leaders, they come with their own objectives, annual objectives. And of course, if you are on the higher level, those objectives are on a different dimension because you are having your individual objectives, but also then you are having as a leader strongly correlated with the results of KPIs and so on. But what I see, the objective itself has nothing to do with the challenge. Like you say, that making on time the administrative duties, for example, like the regular administrative employee. You don't see anything based on these 5 objectives that there is something that can enlighten the employee, that there is something that they are looking forward to get engaged, to learn something, going beyond their own comfort, to be challenged. It's just a regular flat flow.
True. I will give you an example. I will give you a pure technical, operational example to let you know how important is the role of HR in these calibrations. When the company will say that I would like, let's say, to decrease the unplanned stoppages this year by 10% versus last year. Unplanned stoppages are related to the maintenance department, usually. However, the contributor in these unplanned stoppages are whom? They are not the maintenance people. They are the production team who is leading to these unplanned stoppages during their daily routines. So to let them understand the concept of having this target or the focus on the company for this target, you need to let them understand this first. I cannot set the target for the maintenance team itself. I have to set the target to the production team, but cascade it. How? By providing him tools, by providing him further learning options to start understanding what does it mean in unplanned stoppages and how it will impact his KPI and the other part KPI. Why? Because whenever we're saying, I will reduce the unplanned stoppages 10%, and the contributor is production. However, the production also has a different KPI saying, I will be having a KPI related to planned stoppages on a yearly basis, not above 5%. How can he achieve the 5% if his unplanned stoppages increased the 10%? They are vice versa. So this one is contributing, the other part is contributing. So come together, we will gather. These are the tools that we have. We can start learning by observing things. We will create a tool where people can start observing what is happening on the ground. When he starts to observe, he will understand the cause behind the problem of this unplanned stoppages, and you will give him a certain period of time. We have tools to use like SMAT, DMIC, etc., where people can start learning how do they think and how they can contribute toward this. And being the role of these two tools to be used, you are even giving them the space to start learning how teamwork can be done. This teamwork, you will collect information from different parties and they will do it together to succeed. This is how I will set the target itself to achieve both ways KPIs, because he is not the only person responsible for this, and the other party as well, he's not the only person responsible for this. And let's say something even worse than this. If the company is really working on the culture of having this awareness and being a contributor towards something, how can she create things? She can start creating things in a different way. For example, I want, as HR, I want the managers to start using the coaching tool that I have. But how can I set this target for managers if I have this target by myself? And if they didn't execute, how I'm gonna achieve my target, for example?
That's unfortunately the common practice, that they are setting up the big KPI on the top. The bosses are going to their offices, creating their departmental KPIs without collaboration, in silos.
True.
On top of that, like you gave with an example, I'm focused on me because I want to impress big boss. I'm not considering how my work is having contribution to other departments, how collectively we are affecting each other. I'm only thinking about my own department. This is terrifying. And like moving forward to the coaching, and there's so many cases like that. I'm having the idea, I'm not communicating behind the back. By the way, managers are not my friends, because why should I make a friend with the other managers? I am big boss, so I am making decisions. So I go to CEO, I have an idea, good idea, proceed. Go ahead, sending a dry email. Dear manager, from now on, you are responsible for doing coaching. So another manager is reading, Suahili no comprende, delete.
Okay, that's what does it mean? If I see this happening, it means your CEO is sleeping. Your
That's very
CEO
kindly
is,
said.
why he is sleeping? Because he's not engaging everyone. Whenever the board will set a target focusing on coaching for HR, and the CEO also is not playing his role in this, what does it mean? How I'm gonna shift the mindset of coaching culture if I'm not a contributor from the beginning. If I was a smart
Mhm.
CEO, I will shift or not shift, I will do things differently, let's say. I will have a discussion with HR and seek for their own feedback, yet followed by a whole meeting with all managers at the same time to brainstorm these ideas and how can we engage this tool, let's say the coaching tool, to be aligned and used by everyone to as well to be considered as a positive tool, not I have this KPI, I need to complete,
Mm.
etc. The smart person will have uh, benefit from this and he will start elaborating and introduce the coaching tool within his own department. For example, if the safety has a target to reduce, let's say, uh, the slip, trip, and fall target, I want to reduce injuries and all of this. He will introduce the coaching tool in the safety behavioral part to let people be engaged in this.
Mm.
What does it mean?
That's natural,
Co-
right?
Coaching on the safety, it means I will be setting a certain KPI related to this, not for the purpose that I want to punish them, no. The purpose of letting them be engaged and be part of this exercise.
The-
If the company would really like to emphasize on this.
You mentioned punished, and immediately it took me to the transactional level, because even how we are speaking about all these dynamics, it sounds like we are still in the transactional era
Mhm.
of building the connotations within the organizational infrastructure, whereas we should be 20 years after, if not
True.
more.
True. But
Yes.
when you have this on the ground, you need to start from a baseline. To let it be or to touch base on this, you have to let them understand what's behind this. It's not a punishment, no. It's us. We are representing this. We are protecting ourselves as employees inside the company. We do not want to see anyone injured during the year as well. On top of this, we are being people observing one another to see how the coaching sessions are being done on the ground. We are providing them a tool to
You
start
expect too
failing
much
and
effort.
observing. You have to let
Unfortunately,
them be engaged.
this is the set I'm provoking here in terms of saying that you expect too much effort. It should be something that it's standard.
The standard is in place, which is, let's say, the
Yes.
KPI.
No,
And
I'm talking about the coaching, about engagement, about enhancement, the policy through engaging, not just giving to sign it off, that it
true.
confirms you acknowledge the policy. If you are walking wrong and you flip on the stairs, you are responsible, punishment is coming on, you are disciplinary off, right?
Is this the
So,
culture that you would like to build?
once again, please.
Is this the culture that you would like to build?
No, absolutely not. But unfortunately, we are having very inspiring conversations, but in practice,
It's different.
it will land literally to production of the policy. Then eventually follow up. Did you sign it? Did you sign it? Yes, I did. And we speak no punishment, education, but we will take the shortcut. We educated you, you signed the document, you are fired disciplinary because you are the risk, you created the risk for the rest of the team. Building collaboration can be done based on the communication.
I agree.
And considering that quality, communication will play a huge role. We have the CEO, C-suite, HR is coming. It's a partner. Interestingly, HR is still somehow seen external, not the part of C-suite.
That's the difference in this. And I will open up this topic I discussed one time with someone. If we recall, the title of HR business partner started to be spread it out loud. However, if you read the job description of this partner, HR business partner, he was always on the ground, but we just give it a new title to make things more dynamic.
Fancy.
Exactly. But why do we create all of this? Why people suddenly they became interested to be an HR business partner suddenly? And how can we be an HR business partner? Is this person can be, let's say, someone who is working in recruitment the whole life?
Mm.
No way. This is impossible. The HR business partner is someone who has lots of knowledge when it comes to all HR cores and functionalities. If he does not understand the whole functionalities of HR, he will not be able to be a contributor once he is on the ground. Why? Because he's the person who will, uh, let's say, make things to run smoothly between the operational team and the HR team. He will facilitate and find solution to both
Mm.
ways to succeed. This business partner is someone who should be more strategic and find solution for this that will further support company target and goals to be achieved. The HR business partner even is much more important than being an HR manager or even an HR director because he's the strategic person. The HR manager or HR director, he's the daily operational need. Why? What is his role? He will
Mm.
conduct the weekly meetings, he will be present in the gatherings, and so on. He will give the approval to proceed with pay.
More representative role.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. HR business partner is completely different. He's the
Is it
strategic person.
somehow like the different version of the PR and marketing, but
Yes and
with
no.
the HR principle,
Exactly.
connecting, aligning?
As well, he should be able to understand the business itself
Mm.
to be able to succeed. It's not only related to HR. This person will be engaged in everything. Otherwise, how he will be able to find solution when it comes to operation? Are you aware what is happening in your operation? It's not your business eventually.
Mm.
I do know how to do coaching, how to do performance management, and that's it. But how I will know the person on the ground, how he is solving, or let's say how he is producing a bottle of water, for example.
Mm.
He will start being the observer person at the beginning to be able to understand the whole ground, to understand the whole operation from A to Z, and the process linked together to be able to start elaborating further and find solution in between. HR really cares about also achieving his own KPIs. This is the quoted part, which is wrong. Yet, whom is facilitating this role? HR has a policy related to recruitment. The operation, he wants the person today.
Mm.
HR doesn't want the person to join today because he has a process he wants to do, etc., etc. Why are we complicating things? Whom will solve the problem in between? Is it the HR manager or the HR business partner? He will find the solution and he will be the intermediate facilitator between the operation and the HR. So both will achieve their own target in a smoother way. He will start facilitating the processes and let them understand that even if we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in our policy, what will happen if we skip the 3? If I skip 3, something negative will impact?
Mm.
Yes or no? No, then we can facilitate and we can work and revise this policy and let it be more easy for people. Stop complicating their own life.
But when we complicate, we we are feeling more important.
But this is
When we
bad.
complicate, this is where I have noticed the complication comes where the ego is triggered.
And they want
And
authority.
that's the part of the culture, the way how people are collaborating. Who is responsible for showing how the communication shall be streamlined in the organization, CEO or HR?
Both. If the CEO will not lead on this, HR will not succeed. Why? Because we always have the quote of saying, whenever I see my manager acting, I will do the same. His behavior will reflect on his team. So I will do the same way, or I will use the same style and approach where my CEO, which is my direct manager, let's say, and I will do the same. But if the CEO is not representing the culture, how the manager under him will follow this? He is leading by example. He is the support executor in this. The HR will be facilitating by solving the problems, finding solutions, giving ideas, being more strategic on this for now or long term, and so on. But alone, he will not be able to succeed. Let us be realistic. We can have action plans, we can draft many action plans. If I don't do anything, what will happen? Nothing will change.
Do you think that if I, as a leader coming into the organization, and I have a passion, I have a vision for my role, and I have my own unique way of getting into the work, yes? And theoretically, I do it all right, and I perform my leadership in the right way. And I notice that there are some areas where I can sense the toxicology in the communication, in the style of collaboration, in the culture itself. As an HR leader, like you mentioned, if it's not coming from the CEO, I adapting those behaviors. Doesn't make me actually weak leader?
Yes, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Because I should be a guard of the
It's both
right.
true.
So
True.
if I see wrong practice, the strength is coming when I am speaking up.
Exactly. And this tool, let's say, I will consider it as a tool, which is not a tool, but I will consider it as a tool. If a company has this tool, it means she cares for the culture. Because when you spread this knowledge, when you spread all of this, it means you're open up. When you're open up, it means you want to involve everyone, you want to engage everyone, and you're empowering indirectly your team to speak up. And that's very important point. If the CEO, let's say he did a mistake, unintentional mistake, let's say, it's not on purpose. If the manager didn't give his CEO the feedback itself, it means he's weak. He's weak because he was not transparent enough to speak up and share what happened. Because sometimes we perceive things differently from one another. Maybe he had something in mind, he did it like this because he was focusing on something specific, but he didn't mean to do so. If the manager highlighted this for the CEO, he will reconsider this. It means he will admit that he did something wrong. For next time, it will not happen again because he really cares for his team. He showed empathy in a way or another, and he has the culture of speaking up. Don't stay in your comfort zone. You have to speak up. A healthy environment is talking in a transparent, respectful, transparent way
Mm.
where we are not using authorities or ego in this, where you're only focusing on growing the company together to achieve a certain mission, let's say.
If we will not focus only on the financial aspect, what does it mean growing the organization?
When the organization is growing, it's not only financial part for sure. When you're growing, you can grow internally. In what sense you can grow internally? Your people will become more knowledgeable. Your people, they have a stretched way of doing things. You're shifting the mindset from having or working behind the scenes without a team, nobody is engaged, to engaging everyone and everything. Doesn't mean I will only achieve financial part. You're building something inside, and this something inside is growing where everyone is benefiting from everything to grow internally. Doesn't mean that I am growing financially. The knowledge and the behavior and the internal culture alone, it's something very important in the company. And this is something, it's continuously being done. Not learning is something cannot stop. It's a daily routine, but a dynamic daily routine because
Mm.
you are doing things differently. The routine is different to become a non-routine in a way or another.
We do have passion. We do have knowledge. We speak about the communication, collaboration, people who are driven by complications. The culture is very complex part. What are the key components that the CEO shall consider when wants to review? Let me check what kind of culture I do have in organization. After watching that, what kind of key components can consider?
Okay, let's consider that we want to do things differently in the
Mhm.
company. However, you don't have the right tools or the right people to do all of this. To be able to proceed at the beginning, how can you start to be able to proceed? What will be the first thing that you will think about to proceed at the beginning? What should I consider? Whom I should consider? Why I am considering? I need to ask myself all these questions,
Mm.
able to know what to do. If you have someone that who would like to shift things and let people do stretch out themselves and do things differently, I cannot tell them only and quote, this is what we have and this is what we want to reach and that's it. But eventually we're not providing them anything to do this. For example, it doesn't mean always money. If I want my team to stretch their mindset and start finding solutions by themselves, okay, are you empowering the person itself to be able to do this from the beginning? No. But how are you quoting that I want to stretch people
Mm.
mindset and let them be free? You're not even empowering him to do this. How he will learn, how he will do things differently if you're not even giving him the chance to do so. You are the coach behind the scene to empower him in a way or another, because to empower people, you need to engage them, you need to
Mm.
enable them to be ready and empowered. So you have a mission to use to support this system at the end, to ensure at the end I can let him go. I empowered him enough. I was alongside with him during the journey. He's ready to do so.
I think for me, just like listening to you, one of the first checkbox would be how often they come to my office. If
This
it's
means
minimum once a day, that's the
uh,
culture component that I need to change immediately?
This is something wrong. You need to be present on the ground to support your team, to enable them and coach them. And you have different ways of doing things. You have a methodology used, said it's a development impact 10, 20, 70, where you can have different ways to support your team. 10% is only providing them a training, but this means you are enabling them? No. The 10% is only learning. The 20% is start coaching alongside after the training. The 70%, it means you mixed the learning part, the experience part, the coaching part, he's ready to do it by himself right now. So you need to walk in through all of this to shadow the person to be ready on time. Because if he will knock your door every 5 minutes, what can I do? What should I do? It means you're not even supporting your team. They don't know what to do. They don't have the knowledge. You're not providing the knowledge. You're keeping it to yourself, which is wrong. If your team will not grow, you will remain in your spot. You will never grow.
Especially when we are talking about the C-suite. If we do have this kind of dynamic, that's unhealthy, definitely. And one shall question him herself. Do I have a right vision? Do I actually know how to run the organization if I am hiring people to whom I have to coach? Because for me, I would expect to mentor my director, not to coach. Coach can be for the manager, for the team leader, and also not direct coaching.
True.
Because
You have
I
both.
expect these people are having already certain level of experience and knowledge, not just on the paper, but in real practice.
Eventually, you have intermediate lines in the middle of this. The direct person on the ground should not reach the door of the manager to solve his problem at all. He will be going to his team leader at the beginning. The team leader has his own job to do. The team leader will go to the supervisory role. The supervisory will knock the door of the manager when it comes to something crucial, and he cannot move onward with this crucial part unless he seeks for his feedback to ensure that this is 100% guaranteed. This is the coaching part that you're following. Yet the team leader is the mentor, as you have mentioned, for the person on the ground, and the same will follow between team leader and supervisory until you reach higher levels. But this learning journey, it will move differently between a level to another, because having a mentor is different than having a coach. The mentor will be your buddy who will follow you on a daily basis, support you in everything. Even when you have something specific to do, he will go to you directly because you are his mentor. However, when a supervisor is reverting back to his manager for a coaching, it means something different. It means there is something he would like to seek his feedback in this, and he has already the solution, but he is seeking for feedback, not approval. That's the difference between them.
Yes, but even if you are having this nature of seeking for the feedback, you don't appear every day in the room,
True. And this
right?
can happen anywhere, any place. You can coach someone even if you are not in the same department. Coaching can be considered as part of a feedback at the same time on how you're doing things. Because maybe I was an observer passing from a specific department. I saw something wrong, and I would like to give a feedback for this person. While giving this feedback, you need to be constructive and
Absolutely.
providing a constructive feedback to this person. But whom will be coaching this person that I provided him with the feedback? There is an intermediate person. He will be observing this person who is coaching the other one while giving him the feedback constructively.
I think one of the platforms, scenes where we can check, are we good in providing feedback, or even leading these kind of conversations will be performance evaluation. Yes,
Yeah.
you mentioned at the beginning that this kind of communication shall not happen during the exit interview, but on a regular basis to avoid any kind of breakdowns or burnout that is leading to leaving the company. In a complex understanding, what's the ideal HR setup?
The ideal is someone who is continuously doing things in a different way whenever there is a necessity to do it differently. Because being stubborn or attached to a certain policy, let's say, is something very bad. It means whenever you have dynamics and everything is being changed and things are evolving, and we are moving from a traditional way to a transformational way, several things will impact during this period. People will never ever be ready if they don't have a certain style or approach to use during their journey at work to let people do not feel the stress of change. When you're doing these transitions, HR will play this role, and it's his part to initiate the support role in this. Because people will say, why do we have an HR if HR is not helping us? Why do we have an HR if he only wants people to sign contracts on time, having performance completed on time, but I don't care what's behind all of this? No, the ideal person in HR should focus on things being done differently for the sake of the department and the company itself. This is a healthy HR department. You need to go beyond the box. You need to stop being stubborn to doing things in a certain way or not. Things are evolving. Don't you see that we are in a generation where people became more complex and they are perceiving things differently? You have the Gen Zs. Gen Z is into people, they have uh, well-being is something very important for them, work-life balance, flexibility when it comes to work, etc. How, if I have a certain policy, I will stick to this policy. I will even make a dynamic in a way or another to try to be part of these Gen Zs to understand the Gen Z concept and how do they see things, because they are totally different from our generation. True?
That's another thing which is very important indeed, that our generation, let's say, we are doing quite a little effort to understand the new generation. What I
And
see, people will complain, people will critic, which I don't like, by the way, because it shows actually you are not equipped with the right qualities of being a leader if you are criticizing your future workforce.
Mhm.
And this is the gap. The people will criticize instead to understand them.
Exactly. Because you're not doing the extra mile to understand what is happening. Each
Yes.
generation has a specific mindset. And due to things around the world evolving and continuous change, and the change is very fast, especially during these days, it's very fast changement. How you will be able to find all these solutions where you are in HR, and this is a necessity to find the solution for people. Otherwise, move onward and go find a different job for yourself. You need to be dynamic. You have to find a solution. We can find solutions and do things wrong, but fix it with time. But at least you need to start from somewhere. You need to do something toward all of this. Because
Mm.
if you don't find the intermediate way in the middle, you're totally out. You're totally out. يعني go home, it's better than being in a company.
Somehow every employee within the human resource department should play a certain little percentage a role of business partner.
For sure. For sure. Because if they don't, they will not even start tackling things related to their own function at the same time.
Mm.
HR person, HR BP itself, he will support them because it's his role to support them and to find in between. But they are owners on these missions given to them, and they can elaborate further on this because it's part of their daily routine. They might think things after initiating this plan. After 2 to 3 months, we revise something due to a necessity, and we come back and say, hey, HRBP, can we do this differently? And no, it will more facilitate our job.
Mm.
Let's say, for example, if the HRBP will someone imposing, this is something even worse. He cannot impose. He should be always open up. He needs to be dynamics as fast as the operational is, and at the same time find a common ground in between everyone. It's not an easy job. For real, it's not an easy job to
It's very
be in a
difficult because
exactly,
the regular leader is responsible for his specific team. There is a
exactly.
specific number of the team. HR is not just responsible for the human resources department team, but somehow is obliged for the healthy flow across the whole organization,
And he will be blamed.
manage the mood of the C-suite people, manage their gaps in knowledge, how in a healthy way engage as a leadership, be a diplomat in a communication with the CEO. So when we really look from the perspective of the ideal, and the ideal as per book HR role, because it's not ideal, it's as per the theory. It's not our dream thing. It's as the book is saying, how the HR should be functioning in the organization. It's a huge responsibility.
Huge responsibility, and on top of this, he can change things completely. He will
Mm.
shift things from a mindset to another. If he had the right skills, competencies to know how to let people first trust him, to be trusted person, because every manager has a fear. He needs to try to find the common ground between both to let him feel or her feel safe so they can collaborate together at the same time to
Mm.
find this solution. It's not an easy mission for sure. It's something very hard, and you will always find the operation and the HR always clashes, finance and HR always clashes. This person, if he was not the facilitators in terms of communication, how we initiate things, how can we do it differently without impacting anyone or hurting anyone in the middle? This is not an easy role. But at the same time, we should not, again, as CEOs, I'm taking into consideration, or board member, allowed to having an HR not qualified enough to be this intermediate person, because he will drain you if he was not capable, and this will lead to a disaster. Instead of solving, you are doing worse than this. You're creating more roadblocks, you're creating tension, and you are not solving. It's something very bad.
We are talking about executive roles, and usually directors for human resources are interviewed by the CEO and some of the board members. What are the key elements the CEO shall seek in the potential HR director?
Behavioral part.
How I can screen that?
You cannot screen it or measure it by a certain KPI for sure. Sometimes you have to use a certain tools, even if they were expensive for certain positions. It is crucial and very delicate not to invest in tools that will help you and support you to measure this behavioral fit. You have a certain way of questioning related to CBI, etc., but this is not enough. Behavior is not easy to be assessed because you need to combine different situation and a different matters and a different approach to be able to test one certain competency. And this can be done through psychometrics assessment. This can be done through no more IQ, EQ, whatsoever, behavioral part, whole the small test. This is no longer matching. You need to do workshops related to unconscious bias in a way or another. It will help to see how manager will behave in a certain way. And you need to go through the psychometric assessment because this tool proved for fact it can measure different competencies in different ways, in crucial moments, in different situations, and you will be able to find the results behind this and how a manager can lie in his answer in between several answers. So let's say he would like to project for me a certain way of doing things. The other question will be dragging him to see if he is lying or not, if it's in him or not, if it's an owned behavior
I
or we are
understand.
only playing a scene in front of our CEO or whatsoever. That this tool will support you to measure the same competency in a different situation, in different way, and you will be able to know the deep inside of the person and his own reactions toward this. For example, one time I will give you an example. Psychometrics assessment, it was always available. If I go back 11 years back, it was, but nobody used to know or understand what's the purpose behind this tool. And it was not even that much, let's say, used by everyone, or not even well understood by everyone. Yet, at that time, when we started to use, we were able to figure out that a manager, he had a wonderful communication with his team and even other department, and zero complaints when it comes to his behavior. Yet the psychometric test showed for us, because we elaborated on one specific competency in different way, it showed that this manager under stress, he tend to push on his team indirectly to achieve. But we see La Vie en Rose, everything is wow
Okay.
from outside, etc. Zero complaints. But he has the tendency to push on people to achieve. طب how can I measure this? If I didn't have this tool, I will be able to measure this? No, I will not be able. And the team will not go back to HR or someone else to say that he has a tendency to do this. Why? Because from outside, everyone has the positive impact about this person. He's doing great, zero problems in between department. Communication style is wow, perfect. But indeed, there is something much worse than this. At the beginning, when you start recruiting for this position, etc., and you finalize, you have the final person, and we need to ensure that our decision is 100% confirmed. And we want to test specific things related to operation, but how can we measure it in the behavioral fit part? The scene or the fact itself, you will not be able to measure it because people, they have tendency to speak things differently in front of the person. However, behind the screen, he will say things the way how he will see, and no, this is correct, this is how I should do it, etc. But the test is not the confirmation of recruitment. You already decided that this is the final person and he is joining your company. The tool is triggering out different situations, different scenarios, different stories that you will be setting for him on a long-term journey in your company. This tool will help you in a way or another.
I mean,
Because some of us, we might do things in a different way, and we are not even, we were not cautious that we are doing something wrong in a way or another, because everything is superb from outside. Again, it's not a negative impact, but it was a tendency at that time that he used in his work. The tool, it will help you during a journey of a career. The tool is not for pinpointing or testing you how you will communicate with other leaders and so on. Some companies, they use the tool to support their system to develop their team. It's not a negative, it's a positive tool
oh,
to grow.
absolutely.
For example,
And I
if I
understood that.
a leadership framework in my company, and I am emphasizing on this leadership framework, and I have the culture. I'm talking on a company that is well established. She have the culture for real, and they live the culture itself.
Oh, that's
They
beautiful.
have this tool to develop their leaders to be more cautious on their own actions. It's a support system for them to figure out what is next, because nobody is perfect. Eventually, we are all having our own mistakes, we are all doing things differently, nobody is like the other person. I myself used the tool at that time. I triggered different things, and this tool helped me on a long-term journey with me. I did it back then in 2015.
Oh, wow.
يعني 10 years back. This tool supported my journey for 5 years.
That's
5 years. It's
wonderful.
not a 1, 2, 3 months is where you will solve everything. It's a long journey. It will help you on a long term to see things differently. So for me, it was like a positive part that will help me to tackle things differently. It's not related neither to how you are behaving on the ground with managers, let's say, but you are triggering my mindset, you are stretching my questions, you are triggering me and putting me under uh, critical situations where I can slip in my answers and figure out something related to something specific. I wasn't aware about it.
And then you are having a great component for the mentoring, for the coaching, brain
For sure.
stimulation as well.
So this is the continuous journey behind the tool. It's not yalla, let's do the tool, etc. It's first, it's a very expensive tool. We used to pay $10,000 to do the assessment, and you have the coaches that will come back to you every 6 months to follow up on your plan at the same time, and to see the dynamics of how we are doing things. He is your coach during this journey for 5 years. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was for me personally. Not
Yes.
everyone will do things the same way for sure. Something positive, because you start to see things differently. That's all. And that's what matters, by the way, because whenever you're linking it to your own company and your own leadership framework, it will help you much more, and it will strengthen your tool and your competencies.
Fabulous. And indeed sounds very, very comprehensive and complex. And I believe every tool is created with a purpose, and every tool will find its user, that it's really, really valuable and it's adding value. Because, like, I hear there are people who are fans of the disc assessment,
Yeah.
yes? Then there will be other people. So it's really, and I love that when people are getting interest in these kind of tools. It's like you say, no, it's not negative. It's absolutely another level of continuous learning. What is the learning purpose? To grow
Exactly.
individually, collectively
But
in a
those
team, and comprehensively within the organization, for the organization, right? Tell me, dear, we are talking about HR, about CEO. We have been quite sharp for them. What will be your message to the CEO?
I will ask every CEO to reconsider taking a job before taking the title itself,
Mm,
because the title is crucial enough to know how we would like to project the company and how to represent this company. So that much crucial is his place. If he is not ready for this, don't take it. It is something very important where you will shift the direction of a company from a place to another.
I like that. It's very bold, very brave, and you need to be, I believe, on a really good level of maturity
Exactly.
to consider that decision through the lens of rational, not the emotional ego.
Agree. And the
Well,
same should be for HR.
I was just about to ask, what will be the message for the HR?
The same, because if this person would like to be a director or CHRO or whatever is called the title that he would like to take, don't take it if you don't believe in it. And don't take it if you're coming only for the sake of title. Don't ever take it because your impact will lead other to a certain place where certain people will truly drain themselves in a negative environment, which will impact everything. And we as HR reach this duration and this moment due to these HR taking roles not in the right place. And they were not ready enough to be in their own place. You need to be ready, you need to be cautious, you need to be humble and accept the fact that you're not capable to take the mission. And it's not wrong to say, I am not ready. In reverse, it's something very positive. You know where you are, you know what do you need, and you have to tackle it to reach this phase. So take it in a different way and challenge yourself before taking any position.
Very, very beautifully said. This episode has been addressed to the CEOs and HR directors, HR leaders, as we could hear, and I hope that you have heard how much accountability is on you in terms of creating a healthy workplace, how much responsibility, not just for completing KPIs, but actually letting people grow. Because it's important to remember your organization grows as your employees are growing. Your title can damage or empower. That's the true power. Use it right. Thank you very much, Diane. Thank you very, very much for this very in-depth conversation. And have no doubts that, yeah, many from our audience will benefit from very raw discussion, different than usual discussion around the human resource, straight from the reality.
Exactly. Thank you, Magdalena, for this interview. It was a really wonderful discussion. It's a challenge itself at the same time, and hoping we will be uh, supporting our audience that nothing is impossible and things can be done differently in different ways. And we are always here to learn from one another.
Absolutely. Yes. Connecting, learning, evolving. That's the whole beauty You don't have to be yet a leader, you don't have to be yet a CEO, but this is where the whole thing begins. Connect, learn, and evolve. Share with us your experience with your HR leader or team leader. What kind of practices had good impact on you, or maybe not so good? It will be great to learn from you and let inspire each other. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Diane, and
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Bye.